Sarah Shapiro-Ward, a professional dog trainer with When Hounds Fly. Sarah, nice to see you.
It's nice to be back. I love talking about dogs.
Yeah.
Can't wait to get into it.
People love talking about dogs too. So what are your clients telling you about traveling with pets and dogs specifically these days?
Every spring, and sometimes even into summer, I always get a story about a disastrous trip, usually camping, sometimes just to the patio somewhere. People are not even going that far and their dogs are really struggling. So people tell me there's car sickness, there's inability to kind of settle in the car, but most of the time it's just a break in the routine. And inability to sleep, and that kind of causes dogs to get either kind of overexcited or a little bit cranky.
It's funny growing up with two lovely Airedales at different periods of time. At least one of them we would notice when we were going on a trip and even have the suitcases out, even if we were bringing her or not, regardless, she got what we called canine suitcase syndrome. She knew something was up.
She knew it was coming.
And she was How do they know that?
Well, dogs are really good at pattern recognition. So it only takes a couple of times. You get your suitcases together and then you leave and they start connecting the dots. And you can even see that every single day when you leave your house. You put your coat on, you get your keys, your dog knows what's up before you put your shoes on and you step out of the door. They're pretty smart. We don't give them enough credit sometimes.
When it comes to the overexcited dogs, first of all, what do you recommend to dog parents?
Well, overexcitement kind of comes in a couple of different flavors. Sometimes it's perfectly normal. Dogs get excited. Maybe they're a little bit jumpy or mouthy, and then they settle down. And for those kinds of dogs, some basic training is really all you kind of need. Taking a class, working on those polite greetings, working on settle, that can really, really help. Now, for other dogs, they do get overexcited to a more extreme level, where maybe they, sometimes they pee themselves, they have submissive urination, sometimes they can't calm down, and so they get really, really hyper, and there's jumping and nipping and mouthing that just lasts for a really, really long time. And for those dogs, we might suggest a lot more behavioral modification type practice, where you work with a trainer for a longer period of time to help teach them how to be calm and settle in those environments. That's more in depth, but for all dogs, they can really benefit from practice and from doing basic obedience training.
I guess there's no timeline on the scale for how long you would need to train a specific dog. Any guidelines for, if you're trying to bring or have to bring the dog on the trip, how much time you want to leave to do that training?
It does depend on the dog, so it really is an individual kind of goal. But I always recommend for everyone to address rehearsal, right? Go pretend you're going out camping, or maybe go camping, but for just a day rather than a 4-day trip. Instead of doing a road trip, maybe just drive further than you normally would to a different part of the city or part of the countryside, just to make sure that your dog is okay with traveling outside of where they normally go, making sure your dog can relax for an hour or two when you're out in the middle of nowhere or something like that. Then that way, if any problems do crop up, you know what you're going to be faced with, and you can start working on those specific problems rather than waiting until you're doing that big camping trip with all of your friends, or you're going to your nephew's birthday party, or you're going to your neighbor's barbecue and you're having that disastrous experience.
It has happened once or twice.